All right, y'all. Hope everybody's having a great Friday night. And I was sitting here watching SmackDown on my phone. I can't do it. I don't know. It's only one segment I want to talk about, and I'm not going to do it on this video. And I really don't. Okay. So let's go. AEW Beach Break. Takesha and Josh Alexander versus Will Ospreay and Hangman Adam Page. Good match, solid match, they back and forth. I'm really interested to see what Josh Alexander is going to do in AEW. Towards the end of his career in TNA, he was on the losing end. He wasn't the same guy. They they made a joke out of him. He was, I remember them saying his contract was up, but he was continuing to do TNA stuff. So I guess it was more of a contract, nothing was guaranteed. Now, I get a story that from Josh Alexander, I read it, that he basically was being interviewed and said that when he first reached out to AEW, that the Bucks told him at the time there wasn't nothing available, but they were interested in Josh Alexander. Now, Josh Alexander and Takesha, like anytime Will Ospreay and Takesha wrestle, is always a solid match. This match was another solid one. The moves, just the way they were just going back and forth, and Josh Alexander is solid, man. One of the things that I'm glad that he didn't do is become this I'm the next Kurt Angle. His style of wrestling and what he does, he's different from Kurt Angle, but people, the outfit, they people just make comparisons. He does do the ankle lock, and but bottom line is, I'm glad he has his own identity, and we'll see what happens with Josh Alexander in AEW. But he's a part of the Don Callis family, and this was a solid match between them, and there were some spots in this match, several spots, but one more notable is Hangman Adam Page and Will Ospreay will be wrestling at Double or Nothing, in the finals of the Owen Hart tournament. And so there's like bickering back and forth with them where, they got the job done. It was a time where Hangman almost caught Will Ospreay with the buckshot lariat. It was a time when Will Ospreay almost caught Josh Alexander with the hidden blade, and this was accidental, but it didn't happen. But it's tension there. It's a build up there to where, they've been tagging together the fans. The fans, like both of them. And that's the one thing that I like about the Owen Hart tournament and the Continental Classic, because it has nothing to do with face versus heel in these tournaments. And wrestling has changed to where a lot of times now if you really look at it, it's not really a heel. It's a heel face thing with certain people, but there's also times when the heels will challenge heels, right? Guys will fight face guys, tournament or no tournament. It's just like wrestling does that shit now. Okay, but there is a way to do things. And in this situation, they pull off the thing like this is the Owen Hart tournament final. So what they've been able to do, there's a mutual respect, but they're not holding back, and they're going to go in there and get it done. So it is what it is in that scenario. Like, things change. I'm not holding on to the way it used to be. What I do think and feel, though, is like there's times when that element shouldn't be used. And overall, it is what it is. There's been many changes, so I'm not going to harp on that. But the show was solid. Okay, I love the finish. The hidden blade and the buckshot lariat both landed at the same time on Josh Alexander. Got the pin. They go forward, in this tournament. And that's the thing I'm interested in seeing. Now all of this is leading up to Double or Nothing. Of course, Double or Nothing is going to, All In is going to be that's their Super Bowl. That's their big show. It's going to be in Texas. So solid match. Hangman and Will Ospreay gets the win. Second match. Ricochet is really a jackass, man. Like, he's playing this freaking role so good. Like, Ricochet reminds me of that kid that you went to school with that was like the class clown, that was always doing something really sneaky and just trying to get your attention when you're supposed to be focusing. Like, he just had that. He's kind of like a cool nerd, but he's tough. You know what I'm saying? His character he's actually funny, man. Like, Zach Gowen, how that match came about, of him embarrassing Zach Gowen and taking his leg and shit. Zach Gowen, every match I see him in, is like he y'all know Zach Gowen got the one leg. And he's always like, the fans want to see him win, but it's like they don't expect him to. And his matches always had that kind of build where the crowd gets more into it as the match goes on, because they just don't expect him to win. But then it gets to the point, he starts getting that offense going and he starts doing his moves, and it's like, okay, maybe he just might pull it off. I didn't think he's going to beat Ricochet. He didn't. But, yeah, man, Zach, and the thing about it is, right, see, people don't pay attention to the art form, man. He's talking about how wrestling is an art, but y'all don't pay attention. You either squash Zach Gowen or you have a match where you have to protect what he can and can't do. It's that simple. So yeah, man, he was getting his offense on the time. He was rubbing on Ricochet there and smacked the shit out of the top of his head. They had planners to this you are bald thing so much to where, that's what people are that's one of the things they're going to remember about Ricochet. Him getting clowned for having a bald head, right? They won't clown other people having a bald head, but they'll clown him. But anyways, Zach Gowen tried his best, kicked out of moves at times where like he was about to get pinned, but good match. And he had his family there, and Ricochet, being an asshole that he is, came to the ring with his goddamn prosthetic leg. It was just one of those things, like, Ricochet's ass, man. But he got the win, as he should have. I think this was just more of just like a treat to the fans. Like, hey, y'all remember Zach Gowen, and another chance, he actually thanked Tony Khan and AEW for having him as a part of the show. Sometimes families need money, people need to check, and it's not our business to know if they're going through something. I'm not saying that's the case, I don't know, but sometimes that happens. And they'll have a person come in, or they might be in that person's hometown or something, and they'll, hey man, put them in the ring, and guess what? They earn some money for that night. It is what it is. But yeah, I remember Zach Gowen. And Ricochet goes on, and he comes, and he starts beating him up after the match, and Briscoe runs out for the save. Now, I don't know if this is going to lead to a possible feud with Mark and Ricochet, but we'll see. Could just be, hey, a face coming out to save another face from a heel. But we'll see. Ricochet being an asshole. What else do we have? We had the Hurt Syndicate. The Hurt Syndicate, they basically they got in there with Dante. What is his brother's name? Dante, and I forget his brother's name, man. But the Martin brothers. So they got in there. They pretty much ragdolled them around, beat them pretty easily. But they beat them, and then they pretty much cut a promo and told MJF to come out to the ring, and they're going to give him his answer on if they're going to have him in his Hurt Syndicate. And there was a segment, part of that segment, when he went to commercial and came back, Shelton Benjamin ran to the back to get him, and MJF is sitting there with Tony Khan and the production crew trying to hide out, But Renee Paquette basically was interviewing MJF before that. And, she said, you ever think about what the Hurt Syndicate will do to you if they turn you down, or something to that effect? So it's like he started thinking about it. So he kind of second guessed going out there. So Shelton went and got him. They brought him out. I had a feeling they were going to say yes anyway. Now, for them to say no, I feel like I don't see them starting a feud with MJF and Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley. It would feel like weird. It's three of them and just him. Like, this is suicide. Like, what is he going to do? You know what I'm saying? By himself. So we know that we have AEW releases, and I've heard people saying all types of things. Now, you never know what could happen, because next week is going to be the official contract signing. Now, basically, Bobby teased the whole he's smiling a little bit at time, like they're gonna take him in. Shelton Benjamin's back there as if he's about to like super kick him or do something to him. So he got the thumbs up, jumps up on Bobby Lashley, and Bobby shoves him down, and all right, but they welcome him in. Now, Mark Sterling is supposed to be the attorney for MJF next week. It could be a thing. Based on that last episode, we're going, okay, he's part of the Hurt Syndicate, and then something goes incredibly wrong come next Wednesday. But we'll see. I don't know what they got in store, but we'll see. Interesting segment, and, the Hurt Syndicate looked dominant once again. So, as of now, he's voted in, and we see what happens at the contract signing. Now, does somebody come in? Does Braun Strowman? Does five? I'm hearing 5 new signings is coming into AEW. They already have a stacked ass roster, but at the same time, MJF may be in a situation where he starts his own fashion, and then all of a sudden he's not actually a part of the Hurt Syndicate, but has his own group now. And then whole time I've been playing you guys, I already, it could be one of those things. We'll see. But it was an interesting situation, and I'm looking forward to next week's Dynamite. Now, what else did we get? Tony Storm, Azumi, Mina Shakira, and the return of Sky Blue. They had a solid match, man. One of the things that wrestling do, every company does this, and it's, they do it. It's the crowd loves when they do it, but it's getting a little old, man. Where everybody goes to the top rope and dive off, and they all just stand around because they're trying to be careful, and they're just standing there waiting and waiting. It's like, come on, man. Like that part of wrestling. That's like that's something that I just like. I wish they'd stop doing. Wrestling in general. It's like every company does this shit. And the crowd, but it's like you're standing there just waiting. Like, I told you guys before, there's certain moves I wish that they would just stop doing in wrestling altogether, because it just looks so stupid when they do it. Like, okay, anyway. But so anyway, a lot of flipping and jumping off the ropes and dives on top of each other, a lot of that going on. But it was a good match overall. But anyways, if you don't know, Mercedes Moné had lost a 3-way match. She didn't get pinned. Actually, Azumi, I think she pinned Mina Shirakawa, however the hell you say her name. She pinned her. Azumi has that strong title, that women IWGP strong title or whatever. And so Mercedes wasn't pinned. They showed a quick clip of it. I got the news before, the actual clip that they showed on Dynamite. So she gets the pin Mina gets the pin over Toni Storm. But, on the way out to the ring, and, this is a rematch because Toni Storm had, beat her, was it the last Double or Nothing? I think it was, or whatever. She beat her. So now, basically, she gets the title shot at this Double or Nothing, where more than likely Toni Storm is going to beat her. I don't see the point of her losing because the big match is going to be Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné. I'm going with Mercedes Moné to win the whole Owen Hart Cup and everything. And I believe she will have that nice, big, beautiful pink belt, that big trophy to go with her other belts and trophies, and she will be going into All In to fight Toni Storm. And I do believe Mercedes Moné will become the AEW Women's Champion. Now, either she's going to beat Toni Storm and become the champion and pull off a whole undefeated winning streak and win the title and once again make history, or this will be her first official loss to Toni Storm, and pretty much she'll beat Toni Storm at some point in the rematch. But I think, Mercedes Moné is going to take it all. We'll see. So anyway, after the match, Azumi's going to the back, and Mercedes comes out of nowhere and attacks her. She starts to put the beats on her, and then Jamie Hayter comes out. She starts to put the beats on Mercedes Moné, and of course they get separated. So Jamie Hayter and Mercedes Moné, they're going to be the ones, they're the last two in the Owen Hart tournament. So they're fighting for, that winning spot in the tournament. Someone's going to be the winner of the Owen Hart Cup and title. And like I said, I do believe it's going to be Mercedes Moné. But I love Jamie Hayter too, man. Like, it's like one of these things, man, where like when the talent is there, man, and the matches are done right, like wrestling is just so much fun when it's done right, man. But there's no particular way. So when I say done right, I don't mean done right like it's just one way to do it. Just, hey, man, make your stories make sense. Put the best matches on that you can. Hey, I'm not sitting here twisting people's arm and trying to like hold a gun to your head. Hey, every match better be a complete, perfect. Everything's no, it's not how it goes. But solid match. I like the way things went, in that match. And also, let me get back to Bobby Lashley and the Hurt Syndicate. Dustin Rhodes came out with Sammy Guevara. As you know, Dustin Rhodes is tag team champions with Sammy Guevara in Ring of Honor, and also he's trios champions with the Von Erich brothers. So he comes out with the belts, and he pretty much is telling Bobby Lashley to let, I think he had Dante Martin. It's Darius and Dante, that's their names. But he had Dante Martin like the Hurt Lock, and he just wouldn't let it go. So basically Dustin comes out and he's telling him, hey, let him go. You've already won the match, let him go. And so MVP, hey, man, what is it that you want? I got respect for your dad. So because of that, these two killers are not going to come down there and leave you in a pool of blood. So what do you want? So he says, hey, you see these belts on our waist. We see the belts on your waist. I think it's quite obvious what we want. Now, Crew comes out. Okay, Leo Rush and Action Andretti, they comes out. And then they're pretty much, being sarcastic with Dustin and Sammy for a minute, but then they direct their attention to the Hurt Syndicate. So basically, they want a tag team title shot. So pretty much, MVP told them, why don't you two fight it out on Collision, and then the winner of the match between you two will get a shot at us. Now, what's probably going to happen, I'm thinking Dustin and Sammy's going to win. I could be wrong. Maybe Crew wins and get the shot. But you know what? It's not about predictions for me. I'm just, certain things, you kind of see it. But I believe Sammy and Dustin is going to win. Now, I don't know that this is going to be a title for title match. And if that's the case, then we already know that the Hurt Syndicate isn't going to lose. So we'll see what happens. And pretty much so, that's the other part of that segment that I forgot to say. What else did we have? What else happened? What else? Oh man, yeah. Stokely Hathaway comes out. He's talking shit to Danny Garcia and Nigel McGuinness. Let me say this about Stokely though. He's doing his job to the fullest. Because he's a heel, and I really want somebody to punch him in his face. I really, he's doing his job. Because I just, he's so annoying, man. Annoying the way he's supposed to be. He's like Carlton from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with a chip on his shoulder that thinks he's tough. You know, I'm just looking at this dude, like he looks like a little fat Bad News Brown. I'm just looking at him like, please, somebody just suplex this guy, man. Just give him a nice brain buster, right? He's doing his job. That's how you're supposed to feel about the heels. That's one of the most frustrating things about professional wrestling is when face wrestlers have a heel's persona and you feel the same way about the face wrestlers. It's just like that's the part that makes it stupid when that happens. Like, come on, man. Let the heels be heels. Let the faces be faces. I wish all wrestling would do that and stop this shit. It is what it is. All right. So he basically comes out and he's talking shit. And so Nigel McGuinness is being clowned by Stokely, and he's saying, do you think you could beat the 10-time champions, the greatest tag team in the world, FTR? So basically, Nigel says, I don't want to fight those guys. They probably will wind up killing us. So Danny Garcia gives him this pep talk. I've been watching you defeat the odds your whole career, and we need to give these people something they thought they'd never see. Danny Garcia and Nigel McGuinness versus FTR. So the crowd's getting into it and everything. And so basically FTR comes out, attack them from behind, and start to put the beats on them. Now, I do believe that that's going to be a match that's going to happen. It's going to be, Nigel McGuinness. Now, mind you, Nigel McGuinness came out of retirement and wrestled against Bryan Danielson, like last year, right before he retired or whatever, right? So it's not like he can't go in, like he don't have another match left in him. And FTR, for the most part, are going to win. Bottom line, I feel like they're going to win. Now, this also, they could lose too. I think they're going to win, but we'll see. And this could be the return of Adam Copeland. We'll see. Is that all that happened? No. Yeah, Daddy Magic comes out with the crowbar, and he pretty much fights FTR off, and so he comes for the save, and that's how that ended. Moxley versus Samoa Joe in the steel cage. They went there, they went at it. Of course, Moxley's going to bleed. Back and forth match. Hard hitting. Hey, listen, man, the funny thing is this, right? Moxley's been holding that championship belt in that damn briefcase, right? Now, eventually at some point, probably when he loses it, either after he loses it or the next person that challenges him in the one-on-one, where it'll probably be the person that's going to actually beat him for the title, where he'll probably go on to, really explaining why he keeps in that briefcase, what's the real reason or whatever. I don't know why the hell he doesn't carry the belt and keep it, just wear it proudly, whatever. I don't know. He got his reasons, whatever, that I'm not aware of why. But anyways, I didn't think Joe was going to win this match. I just didn't see it. Now, unless they were willing to give Joe this huge push, because he's already a trios champion. Now, he'd be trios champion and world champion. And that would be, great for Joe. But at the same time, certain things you just don't feel like it's going to happen, and I didn't feel that. I felt like Moxley would win. More likely he'd cheat like he did. But, yeah, man, it's a hard-hitting match, solid match, back and forth between the two of them. And Gabe Kidd from IWGP, he comes out. I don't think the commentators knew who he was, because they kept saying who was it, who wasn't. So I'm pretty sure Tony Khan got in their ear, backstage, hey, man, that's Gabe Kidd, and, whatever. So he comes out, and he throws the briefcase into the ring. Moxley hits Joe in the head, knocks him out, and, gets the pin. Now, the thing was, the Death Riders came out, and Powerhouse Hobbs came out alone. He didn't have Shibata, and we don't know when Hook is coming back. I am wondering when Hook comes back if Hook is going to still be a part of them. Is he going to kind of turn cool? I don't know what's going to happen. The four of them could coexist. I don't know if Hook is going to feel some type of way because they got the trios champion and he's not a part of that. But I don't think that should happen. Well, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, I like that group. So we'll see how that goes. But Powerhouse Hobbs, he hits him with the I don't know what you want to call that move, but it's like when you run at Joe and he's in the corner and he grabs you with one arm and then slam you down. It's kind of like that. Only Wheeler Yuta didn't run towards Hobbs. Hobbs just grabbed his little ass up and slammed him through a table that way, over the guardrail through a table. So that was cool. And he was by himself. Willow did come out, and something happened. I know Claudio was trying to climb up the cage, and something happened. He fell backwards. He fell onto Willow Nightingale. I think Marina Shafir was right there as well. She wound up taking out Willow. So basically, it was just Hobbs out there outnumbered. But he was holding it down. And then after they got the pin, the Bucks come out to celebrate. And now they all in the ring, right? I don't remember what happened, but they took Hobbs out because Hobbs wasn't in the ring. So Hobbs had to be knocked out outside the ring. I don't know what happened to Hobbs though. But the Bucks come out. Now when they get in, they got them in. So it's the Bucks, it's Claudio, it's Marina, it's Moxley, it's Wheeler Yuta. So they're in there beating up, or they beating up Hobbs in the ring. I don't remember, but I know they were getting the best of, Joe. And anyway, so the match is already over, and then all of a sudden, Swerve music hits. He comes out. Now the funny thing was, they start trying to, because they lowered the cage back down. They were trying to, one of the young bucks is just trying to open the cage back up, and he wound up getting it up. But Swerve ran down there, and he climbed right over that cage, and he did a dive off of the top to everybody. Now, see, this is the thing about professional wrestling, and this is why I say, man, people need to, really perfect the craft of wrestling in their individual companies to where you hide the flaws and the moves that just look incredibly stupid, because we know you can run up and scale a fence with no time. So now, doesn't it look really stupid when Swerve can run up that cage so fast, but then in a cage match, they climb out the cage like they're about 89 years old. You understand what I'm saying? So, but he goes, run up, jumps up, climb over, because they were saying, how's Swerve going to get in, right? Because the door was locked and everything. I don't think this cage even had a door. I don't remember if it had a door. But anyway, yeah, because they lowered it. But he gets in the ring, and they basically just haul ass after he splashed everybody off the top rope, and they, raise the cage up and they haul ass, and he starts talking about how the last time he was in the cage, he got his brains beat in, and you think that I wouldn't want to, come back and get in here, but with my sick, sadistic, twisted mind and all that, I'm the most feared man at AEW, and he says, I feel like we should have some anarchy. So the crowd starts cheering, of course. So this is going to lead to anarchy in the arena. As a matter of fact, no, it was Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega came out before Swerve. Yeah, he ran out. He, kicked a couple of people or whatever, and they started to get the best of him. I think it was Kenny Omega and Joe that was getting beat up in the ring. I don't think Hobbs ever got in the ring. I think something happened to him outside the ring. I just don't remember what. But yeah. So they had Omega in there for sure, him and Moxley. But Swerve comes out, so it will be anarchy in the arena. Now, Anarchy in the arena. I don't know if it. So in other words, since Swerve is the one who said it, it will be Swerve, and it will be the Ops. Now, it will be fine. Remember, I was saying to you guys last think early in the month maybe, or last month, I was saying because they had an issue like that, and I'm saying it's going to be a 5-on-5, I believe, and it's probably going to be in blood and guts, but it's going to be Anarchy in the arena instead. Just as good, you know. And so I believe it will be Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, and the Ops versus the Death Riders and the Bucks. I don't know the injury status of Pac, like, you know. So yeah, man. I mean, that's what it will be. So it will be that 5v5. But hey, man, look. And this guy, Gabe Kidd, I don't know if he's going to be there. His involvement, you know, you think that it will lead to something else. With who? I don't know. Kenny Omega or whoever. He's in IWGP. You know, and these guys go back and forth in wrestling, the IWGP as well. So I don't know, but his involvement was for a reason. So we'll see what unfolds. Solid show. Beach Break was real solid, man. So, hey, tomorrow night I'm looking forward to Collision. And I'll probably just tell you what I want to say. I don't know, man. Guys, man, SmackDown was just like... I don't know. I'm not going to talk about it in this video, though. I wanted to talk about Beach Break. And solid show. Solid show. Hey, kudos to AEW. Keep holding it down, doing what you guys are doing, man. You guys made wrestling fun again. And, you know, everybody that walk around that wet blanket, take that wet blanket somewhere else, man. You know, it's like, in closing, it's like I was talking to one of my partners, and we said, you know, man, like, wrestling is like the type of shit where people want to point the finger at every company because one is fucking up right now. Okay? It's like when you date, and it's like you and your friends, right? You got 3 fellas and 3 females, and they want to double date and all that triple date shit, and you're like, nah, man, I don't really want to do that shit. Yeah, oh, come on, man, like, you know, it's that, whatever. And then all of a sudden, you and your chick hit it off, you know, perfectly well. You guys over there, you know, handling your business or whatever, and, you know, y'all about to get into it. And y'all, whatever, bottom line, you're spending the time together, and you're loving each other's company. Now your partners are like, nah, man, he's bitching, man. Nah, let's roll. Nah. The chicks y'all over there with is tripping. I mean, we good. I see y'all later. You know, that's what they do. WWE is sucking dog ass right now, and instead of us just being honest and keeping it about WWE, we want to point the finger at all of wrestling because the WWE sucks right now. Hey, man, it is what it is. Solid show. And hell yeah, man, I'm here for the ride for AEW, man. I like what they're doing. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Now, talk to me in the comment section. I will catch you guys on the next video.